Within this little stacker comes a beautiful little console that you've probably read the title for, and it's pointless me having this intro. But I want to show you what it's like, and you know what it's the size of it is compared to everything else, and the games that I've got as well, and how you can tell which are fake and which are real as well, because this system is perfect for that. So what I'll do first is I'll just take out the top drawer. Notice these drawers are very tiny, so take out the top drawer first. So we've got the Gameboy Micro itself, which is just here, and straight away you can tell there's a real game in there because it's flush. You know, it stays completely flush to the bottom, and that is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which is awesome. And you can see it turns on perfectly fine. Comparing this to my hand, as an example, is very tiny. It's, you know, just really small, to be honest. The buttons are very small as well. I thought, from the way that it was feeling originally, that it would have been, you know, very cramped and stuff, but it's really not. It's very comfortable. Having it in your hand for, say, an hour or so, you're perfectly fine still. After a couple of hours, it just starts to cramp up a little bit around, you know, around the inners of your hands a little bit because of the left and right triggers, which kind of sucks. It's not the original plug for it either. It's a proprietary just for the Micro itself, which is a shame because they're a hard as hell charger to get for the system. The only way that you can actually get them is if you buy them in a bundle, which is what I've got actually, where you take off one piece and add on another piece, and it does get a little bit silly, to be honest. But you know, it's still a really good system regardless of the pain in the ass of a charger that it has. So let's have a look at the, you know, a fake in the system, how you can tell that the game is a fake. Personally, I always like to take this system with me if I go to, say, a convention or anything like that, just so I can test out. So as I say, this is a real game. That's a real game. You can see because it flushes to the system, so it's all one flat line that goes across. So you should be able to run your finger across there and it's just a straight line. This, clearly a fake, because it has like 138 games in one. Clearly not real. Also, according to Nintendo, it's not real as well. So we'll push this in as far as it can go, and you can see straight away it's not flush. My finger's getting stopped slightly, you know, there, and stopped slightly there, and stopped slightly there. So it's not real, but it works perfectly fine. All sorry, all GBA games work perfectly fine on this. So all GBA games work fine on this, except for obviously the larger carts, which are the GBA, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and you know, any of the fakes basically that are larger than the system itself. You can try and get them in, but let me just actually show you. It's designed inside the cartridge itself. Wow, you cannot see a thing in there. Hopefully that lightens it up. No, it doesn't. Okay, but basically it runs exactly like this cartridge does, and that's it. It doesn't allow any extra space in there for a Game Boy Color or standard Game Boy cartridge, say like the Game Boy Advance SP would or anything like that. This is built solely for portability, and that is solely for the Game Boy Advance games, which are obviously very small and have a lot more better memory on them and things such as that. And there's quite a lot of games that you can fit. You know, these mini stackers that I picked up from Poundland as an example. You know, you can fit a whole bunch of these games in there. There's probably about 20 games in this little stacker that I've got here, including the 2 that's in this, you know, that's in the system that I've got here in this with the system, 2 that's in the stacker over there, and then, you know, all of these that's here. There's probably about 20 games in there, and they don't take up a lot of room. You know, they don't take up any room. They take up a little part of my shelf that's there. You know, this system itself is quite frustrating. You know, the fact that it doesn't play the older games, the Game Boy Color or Game Boy itself, because there's a lot of good titles that's on that. You know, there's a lot of really good titles on it, like Legend of Zelda DX. You know, there's all sorts of really good titles that comes with the system, but the Micro doesn't do them. It does have a massive headphone jack though, so that's a plus for when you want to play something and hear all the music and everything whilst you're out and about. But you know, that it does have, you know, a range of different things that you can do with it. You can change off the face plate, so you can take off the face, clean it out and whatever, and replace the front. Now, this is the original one. As you can see, it does say Nintendo at the top there. So I've not actually done anything with this because I purchased it as a non-working unit. And the reason why it was a non-working unit was because of the battery. The battery itself apparently didn't work. I purchased the charger because obviously it didn't come with a charger. Charged it up for a little bit, turned it on, and it worked. So I think it was about £10 or something like that because it didn't have a charger, which is a shame because the guy missed out on a lot of money because he didn't have a charger. So the Game Boy Micro, in my personal opinion, I would recommend it highly for, you know, traveling and stuff like that, especially if you've got all the Pokemon games. I mean, I've got every single Pokemon game going in there in this drawer, you know, that's in there. And okay, I think I've got every single one. Oh no, Sapphire's in the bottom one there. So I've got every single Pokemon game that's available in the Game Boy Advanced, and taking those on a journey with me, maybe taking 2 Pokemon games actually, yeah, 2 Pokemon games that are Max and a couple of others, is perfect, you know. And taking something like Advance Wars or, you know, anything like that is just perfect to take on a short journey or a long journey. I'm going on a flight later on this month, and I think I'll be taking the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Micro, just purely because it's small, it's light. I'm able to take it on in one hand. I'll be able to take it on in the plane just by taking it on by hand. It won't be hand luggage or anything like that, and it doesn't use any Wi-Fi or anything. Where if I took my 3DS or my PlayStation Vita, it's, you know, much bigger than the Game Boy Micro. In fact, just for size purposes, this is the 3DS XL, the new 3DS XL, and it's, you know, not even a fraction of the size. You can see the size difference just there. It's not even a fraction of the size, and fair enough. This system does a hell of a lot more, and, you know, looks a lot better because of Majora's Mask thing. But this does a hell of a lot as well, and play some awesome games, especially if you've got a really good collection of Game Boy Advance games and you're looking to just get them out on the go, and you know for a fact that you enjoy playing on the Game Boy Advance. Definitely pick up the Game Boy Advance Micro. Sorry, Game Boy Micro. It's so tempting to keep saying Game Boy Advance Micro. But as I say, originally, bear in mind of any fakes. You can use this as a perfect fake tester. If you're at a convention or anything like that, you know, you can see the ridges. They just don't push in any further. You know, it's the perfect fake tester. So there's a fake that's just popping out. And let's get Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, and you can see it's a perfect straight line going across. I forgot to mention, there is one cartridge that does work that is larger than the system, and I'm going to show it you, but this thing is falling apart. It's Boktai. The sun is in your hand, and Boktai 2, obviously. The actual cartridges are, you know, not massive, but they're, you know, near enough bigger than the console itself. They do work, you know, you just slot them in, except they're stuck out a little bit at the bottom. That's the only thing that I would mention as well. Boktai and Boktai 2 do work perfectly fine on the system, and they do launch up as well, just to show you, because the sun part is actually still working. So it still recognises it as a Game Boy Advance game. It's just obviously the Game Boy Color games, which is quite close to the size of this, maybe a little bit bigger, you know, are not going to work, sadly. But anyway, guys, as I say, thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Hideo Kojima. Bye.